Knox Jolie-Pitt, the only biological son of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie who chose silence. In Hollywood, children are often born into stories written long before they learn how to speak. The world has been watching this family for more than 2 decades. Every kiss, every fight, every courtroom document, every public silence dissected, archived, and monetized. We know their faces, we know their scandals, we know their versions of the truth, but there is one name almost never spoken. One life that refuses to become a headline. One child who grew up inside the most famous Hollywood war and said nothing. No interviews, no statements, no side taken. While the world demanded answers, he chose absence. While millions watched, he vanished in plain sight. His name is Knox Jolie-Pitt, the only biological son of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. And in a family built on global fame, his silence may be the most shocking decision of all. They inherit last names that echo through history, faces the world feels entitled to recognize, and lives that are observed before they are understood. But sometimes one child does something quietly radical. He disappears, not by running away, not by rebelling, but by refusing to perform. His name is Knox Jolie-Pitt, the only biological son of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, and in a family defined by global fame, public transformation, and relentless attention, Knox chose something no headline can monetize: silence. Born at the center of the world's attention, when Knox Leon Jolie-Pitt was born on July 12, 2008, the world stopped, briefly but noticeably. Media outlets scrambled, photographers waited, headlines were prepared before the child even opened his eyes. His birth alongside twin sister Vivienne became one of the most documented celebrity events of its time. The first photographs were valued not in thousands but in millions. Even then, the story was already larger than the child himself, and yet something unusual happened. The story never continued. A childhood lived off camera. As the Jolie-Pitt family grew, the world watched, sometimes admiringly, sometimes mercilessly. Red carpets, humanitarian missions, magazine covers, interviews. Every movement of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie became public property, but Knox remained an outline rather than a figure. He was present but never centered, visible but never offered, known but never explained. While celebrity culture rushed to define every child, labeling personalities, predicting futures, assigning narratives, Knox existed beyond the frame, not forgotten, not hidden, just left alone. The loud absence of a quiet child. In families, this famous absence becomes noticeable. Some children speak through fashion, some through activism, some through carefully curated public identities. Knox spoke through nothing. No interviews, no public statements, no visible attempt to claim or reject the legacy attached to his name. And in a culture obsessed with expression, silence becomes unsettling. People ask, why doesn't he appear? Why doesn't he say anything? Why doesn't he step forward? But perhaps the more important question is, why should he? Silence is not emptiness. Silence is often mistaken for weakness, for withdrawal, for lack of identity. But silence can also be a form of control, especially for someone born into a world where control is rare. Knox Jolie-Pitt grew up watching how narratives are created without permission, how words are twisted, how images outlive truth, how fame, once inherited, is almost impossible to return. Choosing silence may not be an accident. It may be awareness. It may be understanding that the loudest rooms are often the most dangerous ones. Growing up inside a public war, the separation of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie was not quiet. It unfolded across courtrooms, tabloids, and endless speculation. The world dissected every detail, often forgetting that real children existed behind the headlines. Yet through it all, Knox remained unquoted. No sources say, no emotional framing, no assigned role. He did not become a symbol of conflict. He was not used as evidence. He was not turned into a talking point. In a media environment that feeds on exposure, this absence feels almost intentional, like a door kept firmly closed. The radical choice to be unseen, to be born famous and choose privacy, is one of the rarest acts in modern culture. Knox Jolie-Pitt did not announce this choice. He did not explain it. He simply lived it. And perhaps that is the most powerful part. He reminds us that identity does not require validation, that presence does not require visibility, that a person does not owe the world access no matter how famous their parents are. An unwritten future in a world that loves predictions. Speculation follows every famous name. People want to know who he will become, what side he will take, what path he will follow. But Knox's story resists prediction, and that resistance matters, because not knowing means freedom, because an unwritten future has room to breathe, because some lives are meant to be lived, not documented. Conclusion: the meaning of choosing quiet. Knox Jolie-Pitt is not the loudest member of a famous family. He is not the most visible. He is not the most discussed. And yet his silence says something profound about this era. In a world that demands constant revelation, he chose restraint. In a culture that rewards exposure, he chose distance. In a family where fame is unavoidable, he chose boundaries. Not every legacy is built by stepping forward. Some are built by stepping back. And perhaps years from now, when the noise fades and the headlines change, Knox Jolie-Pitt's quiet decision will stand as something rare in modern history. A child born into everything, who chose to keep something for himself.